everybody, big news time. So, Bungie has parted ways with Activision when it comes to Destiny 2 in the future. My name is Caroline, I'm joined by Richard Scott Jones.
Hello.
And we're going to be telling you everything you need to know. Okay, Rich, so tell us what has happened.
Well, as you say, Bungie and Activision have agreed to come to the end of their publishing deal for Destiny. Crucially, though, Bungie will retain the IP, the Destiny IP. So Bungie are self-publishing Destiny, which is what they were afraid of doing when they first left Microsoft all those years ago after they finished their work on Halo. They said that, you know, self-publishing isn't what we do, it's not our area of expertise. Clearly they feel confident enough to do that now. The games industry has of course come a long way. Digital distribution is far more widespread. So clearly they feel confident enough to do that. 8 years, it's been 8 years I think since that publishing partnership with Activision was agreed. So now it's all over. But crucially, both parties say they want the transition to be as seamless as possible. Destiny 2 will remain on Battle.net, although whether or not that's going to remain the case for Destiny 3 is much more of an open question. The annual pass content, which they've already announced and which is scheduled to run up until the end of August, the existing roadmap with all of the annual pass drops like Joker's Wild and Penumbra, all of that is going to be delivered, it's going to remain in place. They say they anticipate no disruption to your services or your game in the near future. But yeah, Bungie are free and they will now handle development on Destiny and the Destiny IP going forward.
So a lot of people have been speculating as to why this has happened. Can you shed a bit of light onto what's going on really?
I can, but it would be vicariously, because any discussion about what happens behind the scenes on Destiny has to acknowledge Kotaku's Jason Schreier, who seems to have amazing contacts at Bungie, and Activision are a very closed company generally, so a lot of this comes from him. But basically, and I hope I'm not being too reductive about this, but it sounds like it comes down to money and the fact that Activision wanted more of it. The relationship between Activision and Bungie has reportedly been strained since the beginning. Things like the regular content schedule that Destiny has followed since the beginning, and which Bungie have often had trouble sticking to, or reportedly have had trouble sticking to. That's reportedly a stipulation of Activision in their contract. And it sounds like Forsaken might have been the final straw between the two. Forsaken, obviously Destiny 2's latest expansion, a big departure from the direction of vanilla Destiny 2, which was rapturously received by fans, including myself. I reviewed it very strongly. But it seems to have disappointed Activision's targets for performance. They said in a recent investor call, like October I think, last year, that they were disappointed in the performance of Forsaken, which prompted Destiny 2's, vanilla Destiny 2's director Luke Smith, of Bungie to come out and tweet, "We're not disappointed in Forsaken." So clear. I think that's the most visible sign of strain between the two that we've seen yet. I think that it was reported that Bungie were under some pressure to explore new monetization methods after Forsaken because of how Activision felt let down, which obviously would have put the community under immense strain because many of the scandals and the online outrages that we saw last year, much of the salt was prompted by Eververse, the microtransaction store, and how much it was creeping into the game. So now that Bungie are gone and have gone their own way, we, fingers crossed, might see a little bit less of that sort of thing. But fundamentally, the reason this has happened is probably just down to money.
I think a lot of people are wondering right now is what's going to happen next, and what does that mean for the loyal fans of Destiny that have been there since the very beginning?
Well, I think they can feel pretty encouraged by that, and a lot of them already have been. This news has been greeted rapturously online. I think there's good reason for that, and we'll discuss why in just a second. But the point to make is there'll be no immediate changes. The annual pass roadmap is still in place, as we mentioned. Bungie are going to deliver on all of that, and that runs right up until the end of August, when from September onwards, that would be the start of Destiny 2 Year 3. And in terms of what we can expect then, and when we can learn, Bungie traditionally reveals that at a reveal event in May, or it's been done at E3 in the past before. I think Taken King was fully revealed at E3. So May, June is when we'll learn about what's happening next in Destiny, unless Bungie chooses to sort of tease us before then, which they may do. But in terms of the direction that'll actually take, I think, yeah, loyal fans can feel pretty confident that it's going to be something that they like. In their statement yesterday when this news was announced, Bungie said that they have listened and learned to the community, and particularly with respect to the reception that Forsaken got, and they've been encouraged by that, and they say explicitly we can expect more of the same. And you know, again, that might very well be why that might very well have disappointed Activision, because of their disappointment in Forsaken. So, you know, it's a case of Bungie seeing how the community greeted Forsaken and wanting to deliver more of that, versus Activision pressuring them to sort of squeeze more money out of it, reportedly. So, yeah, whatever happens next, it'll take its cues from Forsaken. I think we can be fairly confident about that. Whether or not anything will change around that content in terms of the structure of Destiny 2, we can. This is pure speculation now, basically. But like, the point is that now the Bungie are free of Activision, they have the freedom to determine these things themselves. So that content schedule, which Destiny has been following so far, I think obviously it's still going to be a live game, right? It's still an MMO that needs regular content injections. Like, the nature of the game is well, we shouldn't expect it to change for any reason. And the cadence has, you know, established a nice Destiny tradition. You have your September expansion and maybe a DLC before Christmas. So I don't think Bungie would wish that to change. It's a good schedule for them, and like I say, the fans are familiar with it. But the point is, if they need to, they have the freedom to do that. In terms of monetization as well, the key point to make here is that Bungie are, you know, they have full control of the IP again, and they're a privately held company, unlike Activision, which is this big corporate entity with loads of products and loads of different divisions, a very complex thing that's also publicly traded and has a obligation to its stockholders. So assuming that Destiny is profitable, it may very well be the case that Bungie just don't need as much money out of it as Activision does, or Activision. So, you know, the question here is, how much more money than Destiny is making, assuming that it's making some, did Activision want or require? And that's the quantity that we still don't really know when trying to assess how much Bungie will want to monetize it in the near future. But fans are largely happy with the way that it's monetized right now. Eververse is, you know, it's there. It's a nice option if you've got some money to spend for your cosmetics and everything, but it doesn't really feel thrown in your face in the same way that it did at moments during vanilla Destiny 2. And also, it's worth pointing out that Bungie have fairly recently received a massive cash injection of $100 million from Tencent in order to develop another game for them. So hopefully, you know, there won't be resources taken away from Destiny to deliver on that. But assuming that remains the case, Bungie ought to be fairly cash rich right now, and they ought not to feel a great deal of pressure to monetize Destiny any further. And indeed, without Activision demanding that they do so, there should be a lot more freedom for them to serve the fans. And this, of course, is why fans are so excited.
So now you are caught up on everything that you need to know about Bungie and Activision and Destiny 2 going forward. But we want to know, what do you think? Do you think this is the right path for Bungie to take?
I think they probably... I think I can guess what they're going to say.
You know, I think I can probably guess what they're going to say too. But just in case there's something else, pop it in the comments, because we want to know what you guys think. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel so we can give you more news videos like this one. And from all of us here at PCGamesN, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.